All right. Welcome, everybody, to another episode. We have our first repeat guest, ladies and gentlemen, David Mckinney.
Wow. First repeat.
First repeat. Well, you weren't the first guest, unfortunately. You're supposed to be. And then your schedule got so wonked that we couldn't do it. But
it's an honor because you've had some pretty fun people on so far.
had some good ones. What have you been doing, man? I feel like I haven't seen you almost at all in the last 4 months.
That checks out. That sounds about right. Well, we started, Haydays in September, which was, ends up being like 9 days driving out, driving back, Minnesota to North Idaho, Eastern Washington. It's like 2,500 miles round trip. Set up the booth, so-and-so. And then from there it was, I think a couple week break, and then flew to the East Coast for a show in Epping, New Hampshire, which that was like 6 days again. And then flew back here, had I think 2 days home, and then went over to Missoula for an event Caleb Kosturki put on, and then had 24 hours home and flew down to like Idaho Falls area, loaded a trailer of ours, drove to Denver for a snow show, drove straight from there to Kalispell, and then drove from there to home, and then the local Spokane snow show, and now I'm finally home. 23 days in October.
Holy. And then that's like the start of it.
Yeah, that's the going through the motions portion of it, which is still fun. Don't get me wrong. We have so many great interactions at these shows, meeting fans, consumers. Like that part's rewarding, but it's still just on the road to, set up a trailer, take down the trailer, repeat, drive, windshield time, no motorized activities besides driving a vehicle. And now we're going into the fun portion where we get to start riding snowmobiles again.
Walk me through the logistics of these shows, because I think a lot of people don't know. And it opened my eyes when I was in that world. But it's like, the consumer comes, everyone's there having a good time, but there's 5 days of lead time before that first event day happens.
Mm-hmm. Like take Haydays, for example. First of all, if you guys didn't listen to the first one, I work with 509. We make snowmobile outerwear, everything you could think of to get yourself on the snow. And then we have a roster of professional athletes, and the brand's 20 plus years deep at this point. But we have in our industry called snow shows, and they're essentially consumer facing trade shows, kind of the best way to put it.
Yeah.
And the granddaddy of them all is called Haydays in Minnesota. And it is, I think, 300-acre field. And I want to say like 3,000 swap spots for people to sell used stuff and camp. And then there's OEM, row, and then industry aftermarkets. They're separate from the swappers. But the logistics of having that many spots for vendors and swappers to all be parked and all be set up is chaos. We usually get there. This year we got there on Tuesday, and the show doesn't start till Saturday, which is crazy. We have a 55-foot semi that goes there, double-sided booths there, and there's just all hands on deck. Grid wall displays, light boxes. On one side we sell gear, on the other side we display the new stuff and kind of have the like brand statement side of the booth of what we're all about. Mm-hmm. And all in all, it ends up being, we get torn down that Sunday night. Sunday's the final day of it. 75,000 people come through that place in the weekend in 2 days. So it's just chaos. You're busy the whole time. It all leads up to, 5 days of building this booth for 48 hours of madness. And then you tear it down in like 3 hours, which is crazy.
I've had nightmares about setting up that booth, like numerous times afterwards.
Yeah.
And it is, that's the thing I think a lot of people don't get is like how much work it actually goes into for some of these, like not your Polaris, your Skidoos, who usually have like a full-blown company that comes and sets up a lot of their stuff. But a lot of these, like, your 509s, your Climbs, your others that are like, it's kind of all hands on deck from a company standpoint to get the booth show ready.
Yeah, and that aspect of it's just kind of funny because you get a lot of people that aren't normally doing that type of thing. And so there's definitely some confusion throughout the setup process. And then that awning, our awning is the full length of the trailer on both sides, so 55 feet. And I think it goes out about 30. I think it's like 55 by 30. And every year it just about kills somebody. If there's a slight breeze, it's like, make a prayer and hold on for dear life to put that awning up.
Oh, man. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of folks aren't used to working 72 hours a goddamn day.
So it feels like it's a blur. And then there's just so many variables. The indoor shows are a breeze. The outdoor ones are Mother Nature. You're at the mercy of Mother Nature. And the show must go on. There's never been a Haydays canceled because of weather. So I've gone 20, I think this is my 22nd Haydays. And I've seen rain, snow, blistering heat. I've seen droughts. I've seen, dust. Every weather you can think of has gone through that venue, and it still happens.
Why do you think Haydays is the show? I mean, it's like, it made no sense to me when I first came on. I didn't even know what it was because I didn't follow a bunch of sled stuff before I had worked there. Like, I had gotten into like the mountainside, but not really the greater industry. And I was like, wait, what? Like a couple farm fields, and you mean to tell me that people are coming from all over the world to rural Minnesota to see sleds?
It's the mecca of the snowmobile industry. The thing I try to explain to a lot of people is like us out here in the West, we make up like 17% of this industry. Visually, we make up like 75% of it because it's the cool thing, right?
Yeah.
Everybody, including myself, growing up in Minnesota, aspires to go out west at some point. Even if they don't go out west, they live vicariously through these videos and everything. But the reality is the consumer, the majority of it is right there in those two states, Minnesota, Wisconsin. Between those two states, there's over 500,000 registered snowmobiles, which is more than the whole entire West combined. In two states that border each other. And that's just registered because every single... Jim and Bob have 3 in their backyard that haven't ran in 40 years, but there's millions of snowmobiles there.
Yeah.
And so I think it's just the closest middle ground because you get the guys from the East Coast. Those East Coast guys are a similar drive. They're 20-ish hours. We're 20-ish hours. It's just kind of, all right, meet in the middle of the country and it's where these sleds are made. Arctic Cat, Polaris are both Minnesota. Ski-Doo's just over the border up in Quebec. So we're kind of in the territory of where these things are all manufactured and the heartbeat of it all. But you're right. It is a cornfield. It's like 8 miles east off of the main interstate between Minneapolis and Duluth, Minnesota. And you're winding through farmland and, it's September and there's still crops growing. And then all of a sudden you round this corner and it's flags and balloons and signage galore and like 1,000 trailers out in this random cornfield every single year for 50 years in a row.
I think you're saying a lot of numbers and things. And until I had gotten there, I had never the expanse of trailers, swap spots, just like the people that were there because Friday night you can't get in. It's just vendors.
Swappers can stay Friday night.
Night. So Thursday night, then when it was just like we were finished setting up, and I remember coming the next morning
after the swappers
showed up, and it was just like this vast expanse of rigs. And it's just that doesn't exist anywhere else.
I wish there was like a Haydays West, but due to what I just said, the percentages there of where the market is or where the consumer is, it'd be way less. It wouldn't make as much sense for the guys from Minnesota to drive out west because a lot of them are selling trail sleds and all this stuff, and they're not going to sell them out here. But if you could get that 17, 18% to all agree to show up somewhere in the West, it'd be sick. It'd be still a smaller scale, but yeah, to your point, the scale of it's just mind numbing. Anybody who's into power sports, outdoor power sports, like side by sides, dirt bikes, 4-wheelers, snowmobiles, I urge you to go sometime because it's a little bit of everything. Yeah. It's born on snowmobiling. It's still the primary leader, but everybody has a booth there from like Hoonigan had one there, and what else? Like High Lifter, 4-wheeler stuff, quads, all of that. Fox Shocks. Polaris has a Razor booth. Ski-Doo also has a Can-Am booth. So it's a melting pot of just kind of all things power sports, but it's a spectacle.
It really is. What would you like if they were like, all right, Dave, what would you do to make this better? I don't even know if there is anything just because of the scale it's at nowadays, but like, would you have any input for those running it?
Honestly, you want to know what I do? I think it's ran extremely well. I'd take work off and go to Haydays to just go to Haydays, which is a compliment to them because there's so much to digest there. And it's really difficult for us when you're working a booth to interact and see all the stuff that I really have the urge to be that consumer again and just aimlessly wander. Like I really don't think there's much I would change in it. It's a pretty well-oiled machine at this point, but it's just hard to take it all in.
Yeah.
I do think they could get away with having it open on Friday because the swappers are all pretty fired up. Everybody's there, or you could do a half-day Friday type of thing because everybody's made the trek at that point is pretty much set up.
Yeah.
Granted, it is a bit of a rest day for everyone, but I think they could do like a noon to 5 type of thing on Friday. I know a lot of swappers are like pretty fired up to move as much stuff as they can out of their trailer.
Yeah. I have a thought. I'd care to hear your thinking on it. What if they had some sort of app, something like that, where the swappers were able to
like a live marketplace? Is that where
take
you're going?
photos, say what booth number they're in, what aisle they're in, so that people can comb, because that was like one of the things that like blew my mind was like, even though I'm there, to go and see all of the stuff that people have out is like almost still impossible in 2 days.
Yeah. That's a great idea. I don't know if we should talk about that because somebody's going to steal it. I feel like there's money to be made there somehow.
Well, who I was chatting with about it was Dustin Frost with Ride Loud, who he has this whole built out. He's building an app, and the whole purpose of the app, it kind of to draw people in. It's to like get people riding together, like especially like a big city. You know, you just move there and you have no idea where to ride, who to ride with.
Right.
Like you're able to kind of jump in on other people's rides, invite other people. But then he has this kind of whole back end side where it's marketplace style. And then he has something that's more like event specific. So he can kind of take over event enrollment and other things like that.
Yeah.
Or partner with, not take over, but partner with. But I was chatting with him about it, and I was like, dude, that would be like one of the only things I could possibly think of that could make
That's a fantastic idea.
the swaps more meaningful.
Because they're all labeled, the end of the rows there. I think it's number and then letter because there's like field A, B, C, etc. So we do that internally to our buddies. It's like, hey, I saw this part or this sled you're looking for. I think it was in 114B or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
And you have like group messages going. But if there was like within, because Haydays has an app. If there was like a marketplace tab where guys just posted the photo of what row they were in or said, however the headline looked, and then just a list of, not even a list, just photos of their table. And you could just swipe through and look at all the shit they have in their table because it'd take forever to list everything. But just a quick, better way to locate stuff because that time frame that I said, Saturday and Sunday, is almost not enough time to walk every aisle in there.
Oh, yeah. Like you're doing that all day, but then there's races, freestyle events going on.
Yeah.
Like there's mudding.
Yeah.
Like,
there's everything.
There's 100 different things happening at every moment there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's my intellectual property there. So don't go stealing it, please.
Yeah, it's good. But no, everybody should check out Haydays. It's well worth just booking a flight, going to Minnesota for it. You will not have a bad time.
No. What, so, I mean, one of my favorite parts about it too, like swap wise, was like just the debauchery that ends up happening in the swaps. And I'd care to hear like, what is, when you think about it, like one of the most outrageous things you've either witnessed, came across?
Countless. I always think of a guy who I actually know, so I was going to say a buddy, but jumping off the roof of an RV onto double stacked folding plastic tables at about 1 a.m, just shoulder dropping it straight through the tables.
So I will post the video because that is on my phone.
Oh yeah, that's right. You have it. Yeah.
So I will post that on Instagram.
So this
follow.
Just kind of happens there. There's this energy in the air at Haydays where everybody hasn't seen each other all year and you're all together. And historically in this world, there's booze flowing.
Yeah.
And for the most part, everybody's respectful, but sometimes things get a little Western.
Yeah.
And there's just stuff like that. You'll be wandering the aisles and the swaps at 10, 11, midnight, and you look down one, and there'll be a light on, and some guy's got like a sheet of plywood on top of tires, and they're hitting it on a pit bike. And you walk to the next aisle, and there's guys with like trying to get like a 77 Ski-Doo that they just bought fired up to try and sell it the next morning. Every aisle is like, it feels like you're going through a big city downtown somewhere, suburbia, and like every street has its own block and there's something going on, like there's like a block party going on, but it's every aisle of the swaps.
Well, you just think it's all of the people that like you generally flock to because it's just like there's good stuff happening around them, whether they're willing to trash a pit bike in the name of fun or, whatever else. But now it's like all of these people are like culminated together in one area with encouragement.
Yeah.
And then booze.
Yeah. It gets wild. I think my favorite part of the swaps is the haggling and negotiating. I've gotten some deals over the years. Like a few years ago, we did something actually as a 509 video where Ross Robinson and Shane Skinner, two of our pro riders, they were each given some items. I think Ross had 2 pairs of goggles, brand new, and then Shane had a monosuit. And the competition was trade up to who can end up with the best thing. And by the end of it, Shane had a electric wheelchair and Ross had ended up with a riding lawnmower. And this started with a monosuit to one guy and 2 pairs of goggles. And the mower worked. It just needed a new deck belt. And to this day, after Ross acquired this lawnmower, because he flew there, he goes, all right, that was fun, but what am I going to do with this now? And my buddy Trent, who I kind of stay with every single year, he took it home and he mows his lawn with it to this day. And that came from Haydays after trading goggles. I can't remember what was traded in between there. There was a couple items to lead to the lawnmower.
But was that the same? I remember one of the videos where like Shane, I think, is like walking around a corner and a guy's about to do like a beer bong out of some
twisted tea out of a porcelain bald eagle. Yeah. You can't script this stuff. We just walk the corner, cameras rolling, and the guy's holding it up to pour a twisted tea down the mouth of this porcelain bald eagle, like drink it out the tail. And the guy glances over and knows who Shane Skinner is. And he's like, Shane Skinner, I'm so excited to meet you. Hold on, I got to finish this. And he finishes the twisted tea. It's just like, what is happening? But the energy is so positive. Like nobody's in a bad mood.
It's infectious there. Shoot, my first time I got sucked in, even though I was working.
Yeah, it happens. You got to experience it full tilt one time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think too, like the cool thing, the saying is kind of like a testament to it, is like the access to pro riders in that industry at an event like that ends up being really cool. And I'm not like condoning like go there just to try to meet your best bud kind of thing or your favorite athlete, but like you will find yourself all of a sudden in a conversation in some random trailer with people that are influential in the industry. And it's just like they come back down to earth and they want to engage in everything going on.
Yeah, it's unique. You think of events where you're seeing your favorite athletes and they're either riding in it. Take like a freestyle show, for example. It's all gated off, security. There's thousands of people there. This is one of the few events where they are kind of just part of the crowd.
Yeah.
Like, because they have to go, a lot of them have different obligations to different sponsors. So they have to go to this booth at this time, that booth at another time. But to get there, they're just wandering through the Haydays like we all are. And that's so cool. I love watching from afar. I'll be in our booth and I'll see Caleb Kosturki come over to visit us or something, but I'll spot him from a few hundred feet away as he's walking, and how many times he gets stopped by like kids that are the next generation.
Sure.
And the smile on their face, like they're hooked. That meant the world to them. And it's just pretty cool to be able to see somebody be able to take the time in an event like that to just meet new fans and the next generation of riders. And it's unique for that.
I think one of my like favorite ones was, I don't remember where it was. It was like one of the, not like an industry party. It was like kind of like everyone could kind of come to it, but it was just like a little event after. And I remember one of the guys saw somebody else's shirt. It was a Seaboys TV shirt. So I love Seaboys. Mm-hmm. And like what he didn't realize was like Micah was standing right next to him. And he goes, thanks. Because Micah's the nicest guy in the world. Thanks. You know, and the guy just like turns and just like, oh my, like you could just see like it was like his mind was blown.
Yeah.
But like that kind of thing, it just doesn't happen in other places the same way.
Every time I leave that event, I leave with a smile because I'm like, this industry's alive and well. It's just reassuring. You can't fabricate those interactions and the smiles you see on people's face, and it's just a wholesome event for our industry.
For sure. It gets everyone like, it truly is like winter kickoff in the middle of summer.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's definitely like, I know there's a couple like product reveals. I feel like Cat's always done one there where they uncover something.
Yeah.
But in light of that topic, like, what do you think's next? What do you think's coming in this sled world? Is it just small innovations and refinement at this point, or?
Yeah, I know. Every time a new chassis, motor, whatever it may be, comes out, we think, how can we make it even better? It's so good. And I look at like an Axis chassis compared to like the Polaris Matrix chassis now. I thought the Axis was awesome. How can they make it better? The Matrix is awesome. How can they make it better?
Yeah.
But I always wonder if there's kind of like this, if there's like a bell curve to it. If we hit the peak, because I can't remember if you and I talked about this a little bit before, but there's nowhere in the mountains now, obviously depending on skill set, that we can't get to that is outside of a safety concern, right? There's terrain that you never want to get to and will never ride because you're going to die. But it's pretty much, if the snowpack allows and you have the skills to go, the machine will take you there. So now it just comes down to, how do we make it easier on the rider, less fatiguing, less input, more predictable. But power-wise, we have all the basics checked. We figured out the traction. We figured out power delivery. We figured out the balance of it, right? Yep. Weight distribution, all of this. But it's like, how do we make all of those things easier? Because you go back 15 years ago, and some of these brands still had trailing arms and weren't even like rider forward, at least on the mountainside. And I'm kind of going on a tangent here, but I think of this all the time, guys going, we don't have winters like we used to. And they're like, no, we do. You just had sleds that could barely get out of the parking lot. And now we can go through that stuff and up another 3,000 feet.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, it's just, I don't know. I mean, I do is a funny thing. Like working in this industry, I know some stuff, but it all comes down to that. How do we make it easier? How do we make it less rider fatiguing and the machine more and more enjoyable to ride? But I look at it as a catch-22. The lighter and more nimble they get, it almost becomes a little harder and pricier too. Like you got to be on your game as a rider too to be able to hop on something that is purposely built to be nimble, light.
Oh yeah, I think we talked about like the 9R is like almost like a mod sled from the factory. But then I was doing a little thinking on it, and it's like at what point too is like the price point where the innovation comes, where it's like, how do we still capture the folks that have 10 grand to spend on something? And that's the hard part. It's like, what can we do to give a solid motor, okay suspension chassis, cheap as dirt, they can still get into most places.
Yeah, I've hit on this before and I just keep reiterating it, but the used market's getting better, but the used market's getting better in the sense that the technology now that's 4 or 5 years old is phenomenal.
Yeah.
You go back 10 years and it was like, yeah, it's all right. But my buddy's 2025 is really, really cool, but out of my price point. Now that fast forward to present day, we're in model year 2026. Example, the Polaris Matrix chassis came out in 2022. That is technically in model year terms a 4-year-old sled, but it was delivered in 2021. So it's like a 5-year-old snowmobile almost going into this season.
Sure.
This young kid who lives by me, he's like 20 or something, was really excited because he was able to go out. He found a Matrix 2022, the first year of it, 850 with 400 miles on it for like 11 grand, which is awesome.
That's Toby?
No, Austin.
Oh, okay.
So that is becoming a bit more obtainable for these people who want to get into it and have modern day technology. That market's kind of starting to adjust a bit, but we still need people buying the brand new ones for these OEMs to stay alive. So there's this checks and balances here, but I think you're going to potentially hook this younger consumer on these more reasonably priced used sleds that are then, as they grow with age, career, everything, going to continue to purchase the new ones. So I don't know, I think about that occasionally and how that potentially could come full circle.
Yeah. I mean, and like, I think that's kind of
it's not a cheap sport. End of the day, it's
absolutely not.
That's with anything. It's a fun privilege to have. It's not something that you do if you're trying to figure out how to start a business. Like, you don't go out and buy a $20,000 snowmobile while you're figuring your life out. It's definitely
some do.
Yeah, I do know some of them. I'm like, you financed what?
Yeah, I mean, you could have someone else on talk about financial advice, but the way that said it made it sound like you couldn't give financial advice. You're very smart on the financial side. That's not what I
try, but it's not something I'm going to confidently speak on.
That's what I meant. Is like neither of us are financial advisors. So, but we do agree that in some of those areas, kids are making dumb choices.
Yeah. I kind of want to dive into something on a topic of cool sleds.
Yeah.
The coolest thing that happened this year, and I'll kind of put this, I don't know, you know your audience better. I know you have a lot of power sports people listening, but I'll kind of put a little in layman's terms to really paint the picture how cool this is. Caleb Kosterky, he's hands down the best backcountry rider in the world right now.
Fully agree.
Well-rounded. Like, there's guys that are right there that you can compare in different aspects, like Brett Turcotte, but Caleb's technical abilities in the backcountry is on another level. He's going to be the next Chris Barant, the poster child of our industry. And so this year at Haydays, Polaris unveiled, they built him a one-off, hand-built in the factory, worked with the race department, some of the engineers. They got to do a fun project and kind of flex their muscles as engineers. And they built him a one-of-one factory mod. They called it Kosterky Edition. And it's a 900 boost, so a 900 turboed motor, which is not an option. It's the same package that they use in their Rimshaw, which is our hill climb events that we have.
Yeah.
Jackson Hole's the world championship, and it's tons of different classes, and there's a pro class where they are just factory support, as much horsepower as they can put out of them. So they basically took that motor package and put it in a backcountry snowmobile for Caleb, which is nobody's done that. Because take, for example, these factory mods are, the fuel they run them is like $38 a gallon. So basically they slightly detuned it so that Caleb can get away with $20 a gallon fuel instead of $38, still on straight race gas. But they built the rails in the factory, the rear suspension. They built him custom shocks, custom valving, custom anodizing. Engineering got to flex their skills with welding up an aluminum tank, 8-gallon aluminum tank, custom intake, hood, lightweight panels, the whole thing. I can't remember, don't quote me on it. I can't remember if the actual paint has gold flake in it, but everybody thinks it's a wrap, but it's the actual paint. So it's this black pearl.
Incredible.
There's a few graphics that are wrapped.
Is this the sled that was in the trailer that I almost touched?
Yeah, the one that I had.
I wish I would have known it was that. Like, you were just like, oh, that's Caleb's sled. Don't touch it.
Yeah.
Not that it's this
it's a cool
grand
piece.
sled. I would have taken way more time to take a look.
So it's like the most media heavy sled I've seen in a long time as far as press goes.
Yeah.
And there's cooler mods out there, bigger carbon fiber, titanium, aftermarket stuff that guys have built. But the special thing is this was built from the factory by Polaris for a rider. And what's under the hood is not something that even aftermarket guys have all the knowledge to do perfectly. So that being said, I'm extremely fired up that our first video, we're going to be, at this point, I don't know when you're airing this, but December 1st week, I'm going up to Revelstoke with Polaris and Caleb to film that thing on snow for the first time. And it's probably the most anticipated rider sled combo that I can think of in years because it's had so much press around it.
Yeah.
That people are like, we want to see what he's going to. It's making 260 horsepower.
Jeez.
On straight race gas. And Caleb's an animal. So that is really cool for our industry to be like, it's like the F1 of our industry, right?
Yeah.
It's built by a factory in engineering. You can't get this.
Have they done this before for a like, it's hard because when I think of athlete, like Caleb is almost one of the first people I think of when it comes to like sledding, just with his fitness side and all of it. But he's also like most of what he's doing is backcountry, really technical riding where there's not a start or a finish. It's just kind of how he expresses himself on the mountain and how you guys portray him in videos. But has other brands or Polaris done this for athletes before in a non-racing aspect?
No, it's the first. Like even Brant's left his legacy for sure. Like he has so much input on Polaris and development behind the scenes. And he has a line of bags and all this stuff, you know, Brant built and Brant approved. And he's had a great relationship with them. But this is the only one of one built for an athlete sled from the factory. So it's a first in the industry. It's kind of, I don't want to say it's a passing of the torch kind of, but it's Polaris showing how invested and how sure they are of Caleb's future.
Yeah.
And his riding abilities to back it up. But, dude, I'm fired up to see that thing on snow.
That thing's going to be a weapon, dude.
So if you guys, shameless plug, on our YouTube channel, which is at 509 Films, if you want to see what this sport's about on a extremely amplified level, when that video comes out, that thing's just going to be raw horsepower. Like,
and this will come out while you're there filming.
I'm going to try and turn it because we're going to do, there's going to be two videos. Caleb's going to have one on his channel, which is Proven Progression, and we're going to have one on ours, and then be different style. Caleb's will be a little more backstory leading up to this, his relationship with Polaris. Ours is going to be pretty much raw sled, which people love.
Yeah.
Like we do a lot of cinematic stuff, but this video, we're like, it just needs to be no music, raw, this sled doing what it does. So that'll be fun.
Absolutely.
But I think I'm going to try and turn it around like while I'm up there because it won't be a super long edit to make as far as time consuming and kind of get it out ASAP.
Yeah, well, this will be likely out around film time. So if anyone listens to it, they can look for that video then shortly after. Do you think right now, and the term I have in my head, again, does not explain what a Caleb Kosterky is, but like the age of like the influencer versus racer. I feel like all like it's hard, I guess, because in the past there's been a lot of influence from freestyle guys, like even Brant starting in kind of that realm. Now I think everyone thinks of him as more of just the backcountry guy. Like, where's the influence right now coming from in the industry?
As far as for new riders or the guys that are currently out there, like where are they getting their inspiration or the next generation?
Either, both. Like, how would you answer that? Like, because Caleb was the one that got me even to consider buying a snowmobile.
So we're in this weird little golden era, double-edged sword, because I also kind of hate social media. But two answers: inspiring current riders and inspiring next riders, and kind of where they're getting that inspiration from is what you just said, Caleb Kosterky. Like, you saw what he was doing and you were interested in. I know how you are, and you want to do things to the best ability, from dirt biking, hunting, everything. So you naturally gravitate towards some of the best riders for inspiration, look at technique, etc.
Not that I'll ever be there ever, but
you've come a long
100%.
way though, buddy, because of this stuff. But then we're also in this era where you have somebody like, take Muskoka, for example, who is just documenting the rides. It's phenomenal riding, but it's inspiring a new generation of, I'd definitely say youths who are on YouTube more so than anybody to get into the sport. But then you have guys like, take Brett Turcotte, for example, who is also doing YouTube, but pushing it in different ways. He's doing his freestyle thing. He's doing this. He's doing film projects too, which then pushes the other riders to do more film projects. It's like this revolving door where they're all pushing each other unintentionally.
Yeah.
Because there's so much media available and so many outlets to express media that Turcotte does something, and then like Caleb's like, I got to do something. And then now you hear like Ty DeRochers, he's a guy up in BC. He's putting together a piece. And then Andreas Bergmark does a piece. And it's like, these guys all know each other and they're all riding similar areas, but it just keeps pushing each other to push it more and more and more. And it all trickles down. We're all watching it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who you are, and you're bound to end up on one of these videos if you're interested in the sport or find something you relate to. But then the other part I wanted to tie in there was, we talk about mountain stuff so much, but then you have a guy like Levi Lavallee. Levi Lavallee is X Games legend, Red Bull. He's done multiple world records. He has the world record distance jump. He's snowcross legend. He's won Pro Open championships back in the day. He ran his own snowcross team. He's a Midwest staple. And he has a YouTube channel also that is catered to trail side of things. So it's like, no matter what discipline and what road you want to go down, trail, mountain, whatever, there's just so many outlets of media right now that I don't really know how to fully answer, but it's just a lot of expression out there to motivate you and athletes together.
Yeah. And the like Muskoka,
it's a really broad answer, but
yeah, but it's I totally am tracking with you, because even like Muskoka, I was at the Toronto Snow Show, I don't know what is 3 years ago. But I think kind of like as he emerged, like he was definitely out there, and I think at that time everyone was talking about how many days he's like on the snow and riding, and then being in Canada, I think there got a little bit more traction before even the US, just people knowing his name. But I remember at that show, it was like announced that like he was going to sign. And at that time, I didn't even know what his name was. They named like the guy. And then I think one of the guys I was with was like, you know him, Muskoka Freerider. And I'm like, oh, that's that guy? Oh, like sick. But like, it was a crowd of people like running up to get his autograph and see what he was, which even then I think like turned my attention to like there's a market for people that are watching this and thinking, I just want to be on a ride with him.
Totally.
Like, or I want to duplicate that style of ride.
Yeah.
And after watching his content, like, I mean, totally, like it totally motivates me to get out and do it in a different way than a Caleb Kosterky, but like motivation nonetheless.
Yeah. And I don't know if my subconscious marketing brain starts going. I just try to think of who are we influencing or who's being influenced here. Are we checking all the boxes of every type of snowmobile or every region? And there's definitely missing links out there for sure. But there is a pretty good spread of, hey, I'm a diehard trail guy. I'm going to watch Sled Track's video on their adventure to Quebec, whatever, and their lodging that they did along the way. But then it's like, I'm heading out west for the first time. I'm going to go watch Dan Adams talk about fundamentals of tree riding. Like, we are fortunate, even though it's a small industry, to have this well-rounded, media sources all over the place between different industry professionals and different brands and so on.
Yeah.
But it's unique. It's the same for anything. Dirt biking, that whole industry is massive. Street motorcycles, adventure, everybody has it. It's just, how do you replicate it and improve it to satisfy everyone who's out there enjoying it?
Yeah. I think too that oftentimes folks in the industry, I'll commend you here because this is something you don't do. But I've heard it from a lot of others, is like a lot of people get so highly critical of other people's content and what's coming out. And I think like they forget the exact point you just made, which is like, there's somebody out there that loves that. Otherwise, that would have never got the traction it did. And even if it's not my cup of tea, like I need to realize that it's like that's doing something for this industry and getting some eyes in a sport that might otherwise not be. And I think that's like part that I almost wish some factors of this industry would just like chill out on. Like, let's not be so highly critical of all of this stuff going on.
Yeah.
But then there's times that I think people need to be critical.
Yeah.
Like some of the stupid trends I end up seeing on Instagram.
Yeah. I've done a handful of them. But to your point, there's somebody out there who loves it, and you got to try to be well-rounded enough to satisfy all of them.
Yeah. I wish I would unsee some, but completely get it. All right. On that, we're going to do a new segment presented by 509. Not actually. This is not actually stamped by 509, but we don't have a sponsor yet, so selfless plug. What's popping off right now in the sled world? Like, what is cool?
What I really love is mod sleds are coming back.
Hell yeah.
There was about a 5-year hiatus. So everybody came out with factory turbos, except Articat. They got to get on that. And that kind of put building aftermarket turbos in the back burner. In the last 2 years, between, Barant, Caleb, Turcotte, Muskoka, just as far as actually known names, there's a bunch of other guys too, are building titanium, carbon fiber, race gas burning mayhem machines.
Just monsters.
And we got away from that for a while because we all got really, pretty stoked on just going to the pump and putting pump gas in our warranted turbo sled. And something, I don't know what lit the fire. I don't know if it was, I think what really pushed it was Muskoka when he built that 174 carbon chute climbing sled. That
crazy light one.
And he built his own carbon parts, documented the whole thing, which is crazy. He learned how to make carbon fiber, learned how to do molds, learned the chemicals, everything to make. He made his own hood. He made a bunch of other pieces in his garage.
I watched it all like a kid in a fucking candy store.
It was sick. And that like lit a fire under people. Now Caleb's building chute climbing sleds, and chute climbing was kind of had died out too. And now these guys are all like, yep, let's go up this as fast as we can. That's a pretty cool trend because the aftermarkets love it. It's great for them too, because that keeps that business alive. But I love it. It takes me back to 10 years ago also. But then also vintage. Vintage is, and by vintage now I mean 2005, right?
Which is a weird thing to hear.
Yeah, that's getting popular again. Barant's been building some cool stuff, and I'm seeing at St. Skinner's been building some cool 05-ish, 04 wedge chassis sleds, and it's like we turn back the clock. Trends come back. Everything goes full circle. It's just in patterns here, and we've either hit that curve where we got comfortable with these factory, beautiful, warranted sleds, and we're like, let's throw a bunch of extra horsepower at it, even though it's not necessary now. I don't know. That's been a really fun trend to watch because guys are getting crafty.
Yeah. I think sled lovers inherently love spending money.
Yeah.
And then once they had like that perfect sled sitting in the garage, they're like, shoot.
Some dude in Canada just built, I can't remember if it's a Matrix or an Axis, carbon panels, carbon this and that, and shoved a Yamaha 4-stroke motor in it. Just because he's like, why not? I'm trying to do something different. This is like, dude, that's some 2005 stuff right there.
Yeah. Even on, which I know this is like I believe it's a company that made it, but like that, is it a 600 2-stroke snow bike?
Ruffian. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a really cool concept. I talked with the guy a little bit. The tough part's going to be if they ever want to mass produce it, it's never going to pass emissions the way it's at. So it'd have to be like a custom, like you're going to like a chopper, get a custom bike built, aftermarket build type of thing from the ground, like by order customers only. Like you wouldn't be able to snow check type of thing and mass produce or have dealers. But the concept is awesome because he figured out a way to actually it's essentially a Banshee motor.
So sick.
And you figured out a way to put some horsepower down and build a chassis around not a dirt bike, right?
Yeah.
It's a purpose-built for snow chassis with a motor that actually puts down some horsepower.
Yeah, it looks like if it tipped over, it wouldn't be like the end of the world
Right.
flipping it back, which I know is always a point of contention with dirt bikes. Well, I'm curious because, like, for instance, KTM, why they had to switch to a TPI or a TBI was because of the amount of bikes they sell. Now, they could have other options, like it's obviously it works really well, but they had to make that switch because of the amount of bikes classifies them in a different realm for emissions, as opposed to a Beta, a Sherco.
Oh, really? That was the backstory on that?
Yeah, as opposed to a Beta, a Sherco, the other ones that aren't selling as many, and they're not held to the exact same standards from an emission standpoint. And that's where I'm curious if, like, Ruffian wouldn't be necessarily held to the same as a Polaris or Skidoo.
Potentially, yeah. I don't know.
I'm just spitballing. I'm like, because anything to bring more stuff into this industry.
New creative engineering is cool, but to the mod sled part, I just thought about what we were talking about earlier. The irony of this all is guys are kind of doing barnyard mods.
Yeah.
Like take the Dawson Shaflita, for example. He's a guy out of BC that's in a lot of Muskoka videos, and he started just buying new sleds, tearing them down to the bulkhead and drilling holes everywhere, adding carbon fiber, titanium, just trying crazy stuff. We're taking these $25,000 sleds and now they're throwing our 20 grand at them. When we're in the position of people talking about them being too expensive, we're seeing more mod builds than ever. So that's just interesting. I have no explanation for it. I have no real reasoning, but it's the polar opposite of what the root of the problem is for a lot of people. And I know some of these guys, they're not raking in the cash. They're just that passionate about it.
Yeah.
That they're like, screw it. I'm putting everything into this and we're going to have a good time and a few people are going to see it, but it's really for me and the love for it.
I feel like it may be like a stark difference between other hobbies. For instance, hockey, football, these others. It's like people love them. People spend money on them. And it's like, I know, like in the Midwest, especially, it's like the Packers are life. But I also don't think a lot of people are like willing to throw every cent to go to a Packers game.
Right.
Where I do feel like in the sled world, it is such a way of life that, like, I would almost bet that they're prioritizing that mod almost right next to their mortgage.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and that's the same group that's like, oh, it's 24 hours drive to go ride for 4 days? Sure. When are we going? When we going? Yeah.
All right. So sled or mods are coming back. Anything else on the cool front that you're seeing that is pumping?
Films are coming back. If you guys want to dive into that culture, that side of the culture is independent films too, which is neat. Caleb, I keep kind of talking about Caleb here, but he's been doing a lot for our sport recently, and Brett Turcott. They just both independently pitched film ideas without, yes, there was brand support behind it, but it wasn't the brand driving the film.
Yeah.
Like when we did films, for example, it was a 509 film with these guys in it. Now some of these guys from our film are pitching their own film ideas, finding backing to make it happen, but it's their idea, their event, their premiere, which is awesome. That's like best case scenario for an athlete that you could ask for. They're giving back so much to our industry and building the stoke. But even not full length sled films, there's so many edits now that riders are getting motivated to put together that are film-esque, short stories, 10 minutes or something. But while I'm in Revelstoke next week, December 6th at the Roxy Theater, Tim Gray with Mountain Sledder, they're putting together a little thing where they're doing another airing of, or another showing of Caleb and Brett's film in downtown Revelstoke, which that hasn't happened in decade. And
there's a hunger for it.
Yeah. And there's people that want sled films again. I think everybody's gotten a little sick of the now on social and miss that little bit of the unknown of waiting for something to be released. And it's the human interaction, being together, the camaraderie. So trust me, it's on my radar too. I'm aware. I've seen the messages. People want to see another 509 film.
That was the next question.
I'm not saying anything right now. It's internal discussion on it. It wouldn't be this year. I'll say that. If it's going to happen, it's not going to be this season. So just pump the brakes on that. Don't be mad at me that you don't see a movie next fall. But long term, there's discussion. And if we do it, we're going to do it right and big.
Hell yeah.
And sick.
So on a personal front, though, you had a little segment in Kosturki's
I did, yeah.
film, because it was almost like a small film festival.
Yeah. He did this cool thing where he had like a creators... Like I said, he just knocked it out of the park. It was so well thought out and different ways to give back to people in the industry outside of premiering his film. He did this like creators segment, if you will. And he had me, Jeff from Sled, who does a lot of media, Nate Turnbow, who did Caleb's film. Gosh, who else? Why am I drawing a blank? Sorry, guys, if I'm forgetting somebody. Core Freshies, Scott Iyer and Jaden Ballard. And before his film, he kind of let us all put together our own piece and then do an interview on stage about our history in the industry, some motivational stuff to just inspire everybody to push to do what we are doing or whatever. But it was weird. I have never put together a piece of me riding for something ever. And then I felt really weird because I knew Caleb set me up. So Jeff put together this beautiful piece, like 6 minutes of his life, going to school, not knowing what he was going to do, finding film, and finding narrative film and doing these awesome edits and clients, and then his outlet in snowmobiling. And mine was like 3 minutes of here's me riding my snowmobile. Hell yeah. And Caleb totally set me up because he messaged me. He's like, can you put together something of you riding? It's like 3 minutes. But it was cool. I know he appreciated that I love riding so much. So rather than me doing a story piece, he wanted to put that out there.
Yeah.
But I'm watching Jeff's. I'm like, oh, man, this isn't a good look. Like, here's this inspiring story. This is amazing. Then here's me riding to a Turnstile punk rock song.
To be fair, though, like that's like so core. Like to have the moment where you are on so many films, YouTube videos, like your stories out there, your so many things, but it's like what a lot of people don't get to see is you riding.
Yeah, I don't push that too much, but I love it.
But that's the part. Like, I know you don't push it and you're a humble dude, but like you also, if you took the professional filmer side away, like you likely could be riding next to a lot of these pros, which then watching you on a film, it's like, I almost look at it where I'm like, dude, fucking well-deserved.
Thanks, buddy. You know what haunts me? And I think why I steer away from going, yeah, look at me ride. I remember like 10 years ago, I won't drop a name. There was this guy in our industry who was a filmer. And then he shifted and just like started posting him riding. But he started posting him like on the channel of the page he was shooting for. For the brand. And I remember internally being there and all these riders going, well, so-and-so apparently just thinks he's a rider now and not a media guy. And that like stuck with me because it was like my idols. That's for 10 years I've thought about that story and that guy. And I'm like, I don't want them to be like, oh, so-and-so thinks he's just a rider now and not a media guy. Granted, I have shown up for everything media-wise still.
Yeah.
But I don't know why that like haunted me because I think it was, these are my idols. I don't want them to be like, oh, so-and-so doesn't care about us anymore and, thinks he can just go have fun. And that's like the side of, I mean, it may be like, to be fair. I don't know what a therapist would say about that, but that like haunts me. I feel like there's something to unpack there.
The other guy, I think whoever that was went wrong. Might have been like the full on just posting himself on not like personal, something adjacent to the brand he's working with, but like on the brand he's working with. But then there's also the point of like with you, it's like you're kind of the face of 509 from a presentation standpoint. And like I think everyone that associates David Mckinney and 509, like they think of that synonymously.
Yeah, I've accepted that because I just want people to be stoked on the brand. And if I'm the outlet to help them do that and introduce them to it, that's sick.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I believe in the products we make and the lifestyle that the brand is about and the people we sponsor. And if somebody gets stoked on that because of some dumb thing I said, then hell yeah, that's a win.
But you got to that point without just posting yourself. So then I would go to bat that if anyone ever said anything about you posting yourself after all you've done for the athletes and the brand, I would be like, dude,
tread lightly,
kick rocks at that rate.
Fair.
I know you can't say that, but I can say it. It would be, like well-deserved at this point, you know? All right. So I do agree. I think the film thing is pretty awesome. Like going to the Core Freshies one and watching the local
I hope
boys
anybody
throw
listening
down.
right now, you guys have a laundry list of things you should go watch and check out. We're just dumping, spewing all these new videos, new content stuff that's out there and available.
That's good. On the counter though, like what should stop in the industry? What is not cool that is happening, if anything?
This is a hot take. We're guilty. Everybody's a little guilty. But we've taken away from, I feel, a little bit of the legitimacy of what a sponsorship is.
Ooh, okay.
We're very, very good, and most brands are, at differentiating who their top tier guys are, right? And versus who's just getting like a discount. But I do see people, younger people for sure, who are just, they're a product of their environment and it's not their fault, who've just been raised around social media, the era of influencers, and thinking, I can do that, which I don't want to say like you can't do it, but I see a lot of people who are just starting to do it and skipping the fundamental kind of the formative year steps and trying to just be like, hey, I've just started this channel, or I got a TikTok that got 20,000 views. You should give me this. I'll just get comments on our TikTok of like, hey, 509, you should give me a helmet. Check out my page. And I'm like, okay, I guess resumes don't matter anymore, or accomplishments, you know? And that mindset is all over the place of I deserve this because I did this one thing.
I would almost look at it like if I started going and trying to get sponsors for the podcast without thinking that I'm putting the time in to like build the audience to warrant a sponsor for a podcast.
It's like you being non-negotiable on a paid ad after 15 episodes, which is like, and that's not a dig on anything. That's just a reality of where you're trying to build the thing. It's like you gotta take those steps. And I see a lot of guys out there that got I don't know, $30,000 snowmobiles that can kind of ride them, but they're actually hindering their ability to progress because they have all this shit on it that they don't need and haven't figured out the fundamentals of it and gone through those steps and that learning curve, you know?
Oh yeah.
And
getting turboed.
Yeah. We've talked about that, I think, on the 509 podcast when you were on it, that there's so many guys buying turbos that do not need turbos.
No. God, no.
A, you can save money. B, you can become a better rider without it.
They do sound cool, but yeah, I do agree. I think my hot take, it's in line with yours, and we can kind of boil both of them down. I think people shouldn't disrespectfully ask for anything.
Agreed. Yeah.
That way.
Yeah.
I like that answer a lot more because I do agree. Like there's a time and a place. But yes, if you're, and then we'll drop the age. Doesn't matter what age you are. If you're going to come up and ask for anything, please do it super respectfully and be a really good steward of this sport.
Yeah. He's the example of the podcast, I guess, Caleb. 7 years ago-ish, gosh, maybe even longer now, he was just starting to make a name for himself. And the irony in this is Caleb on social media, right when Instagram and all that was really becoming the thing, he kind of dogged on Polaris really heavy to the point where internally everybody was watching this kid. They knew he had a lot of skill, but he said some things about a sled that he just owned, had a lot of issues with at the time, had issues with the dealer, dogged on it to the point where everybody was like, "Ooh, that's not a good look." Like he's right on the bubble of becoming a name.
Yeah.
And that played a role in his progression for a couple years. It made us a little gun shy on offering him something. It definitely like made Polaris a little gun shy, but formative years. He was young. I mean, I think at this time he's only 20. I don't even know how old Caleb is now because the years just fly by. He's mid 20s. So he was like maybe 19, 20 at the time of this. He learned from it, pieced it back together, rekindled relationships, and now he's at the top of his game. So what I'm getting at is like, we all make mistakes. We're all going to bobble. We're all going to not think with a clear head and, just let your frustration take over sometimes. But you can come back from that. You just got to approach it right. You can rebuild those relationships if you're really hungry for it. And the proof's in the pudding there, but
yeah.
Nobody's perfect. Just there's definitely certain ways to handle things, and when you're first getting into it, can leave more of an impression than you think long term.
All right. I think that's a great take, because to your point there, I think you're alluding that to like people coming up and being rude or in a comment, like, and then you put a request in to get an ambassador thing, and then all of a sudden that shows up, and it's like,
we actually, I know we're going on here on this, but I have such a unique example. There's a guy that we had in our ambassador program for years, and he didn't meet the criteria, because we have like a criteria of X amount of followers, this, that, and other thing. Because fortunately, it's a day of age here. You got to kind of play you got to play the game a bit from all fronts. But he didn't meet all of them. But he was such a good brand advocate in his local region and his local dealer, coming to events, giving me more feedback than I've seen from a lot of people, that we just kind of grandfathered him in when we changed the criteria. And I've never seen this happen actually to this day. This year, I think it was, I can't remember if it was this year or last year, said he would not like to accept his offer because he doesn't feel he has the time to obligate to the brand to fulfill his end of the deal. And I was like, dude, the door's always open, but like he had some family health issues going on and stuff. And he's like, I don't feel deserving of this. And we're like, wow, first of all, like, round of applause. Like, you do not, the door's forever open, whatever you need. And I think we still ended up sending him like a small gear code for some casual wear for his family and everything. But it's like, dude, you are you can't script this. Like, this is how to handle a brand relationship, to the point of where actually we were bummed. Like, you didn't fulfill all the requirements, and then we're bummed that you acknowledge that almost, and you don't want the deal anymore.
What a stand-up guy, whoever
was like,
that is.
Did you just get bamboozled?
Oh my God. Well,
but that's the local community aspect. It's unique. Like that, there's so much benefit in that too. That brick and mortar, going into your dealer, being an advocate to your friends, and showing up at events and helping out and shaking hands of employees that you've heard through the grapevine via email that you just want to put a face to the name. And it's rare breed.
Absolutely. I think it is rare, unfortunately, but such a stand-up guy. Whoever that is, I'll get the name after the podcast, but that's such a sick story.
Yeah. Good guy. Good rig.
Good rig. All right. Changing topics. I feel like we beat that one. Sleds and X Games this year.
Mm-hmm.
What's your take on that from a brand perspective? I mean, I can't imagine it's anything but a positive to this industry.
It's sick. Brett Turcotte's our star for X Games, 8 times X Games medalist at this point of his career. I think Brett probably thought that was the end of it.
Yeah.
I think it was I can't remember if it was 2019 or 20 was the last time snowmobiling was in X Games. So, I mean, we're stoked. We're going to go down for it. I'm still trying to figure out the media logistics with X Games on what we can capture. But, that's kind of the world stage, the Olympics of our sport. We're actually doing custom gear for Brett 2 sets because he's competing in speed and style and freestyle. So he has a different kit for each event.
Heck yeah.
So that's fun. We don't get to do that type of stuff very often. And when it's that level, it's like roll out the red carpet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sounding old, but I just can't stop focusing on wanting to see people stoked on the sport, and where it's been a big enough gap in X Games where there's potentially people that are watching it this year that never got to watch it or were too young to remember it.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. Is like some of these kids now get to see what X Games is all about for snowmobiling.
Incredible. Do you think because I feel like the freestyle kind of focus has been more of like a show in recent years where like the tricks are on lock. They're going out.
It's not a competition right now.
Right.
Yeah.
It's more of a go out, show some amazing tricks, but like for Turcotte, for example, it's like the tricks, he's on such a high level, but he's got them on lock and he's doing them pretty consistently. Do you think now that this is going back to competition is just going to elevate some of the stuff that we're seeing?
I really think Brett's a contender in both categories, speed and style and freestyle. But there's some guys that are going to be chomping at the bit. There's a guy out of Sweden. I just talked about this in our podcast yesterday, and I still cannot remember his name. Rides for Lynx. I'm looking like a bad industry advocate right now, not remembering his name. But
it's not Tomas.
Monster Energy, Lynx rider. He's been doing a bunch of monsters. He's been riding in Spain on his sled for freestyle shows. He has the nastiest whips.
Okay.
Crazy extension, but I love that because he's fueling Brett to be like, I got to get on my game. And Brett's been riding every day. Brett knew about this a little bit, right around the rumor of it. So he's been pretty much since, I don't know, October, every single day on the sled doing freestyle. And I actually don't even know what he's working on. I've got a little bit of hints here and there, but I know he's like making sure all the judgment point boxes are being checked. Extension, hang time, execution of this, landing, the body positioning. Like those are the boxes he's checking because that's what the eyes are going to be on for the first time in years. Not saying anybody's been sloppy, but when you're doing a freestyle show, nobody's judging you besides like, oh my gosh, he did a backflip. Most people don't really know what the tricks are called, right?
Yeah.
It's a family event. Now everybody knows what every trick is and how it should look done to perfection.
That's going to be such an awesome value add. Like on the racing side too. I mean, all of it is just such a sweet.
Yeah. I wish snowcross would come back.
I know, me too, but speed and style at least will.
Yeah, which is a blend of both. It's exactly what it is. The speed aspect comes from snowcross, the style, freestyle. So these guys are racing a lap time on top of being judged for their freestyle execution.
Wait, the funny thing is like a Brett Turcotte, for instance, when but I think of him mainly from a freestyle perspective, the X Games perspective. But then you watch him at Jackson Hill Climb racing, and he's by no means a slouch.
No.
And like that's where it's just like the actual talent in that guy is insane.
Yeah, and Brett's background is snowcross. So he raced national level for Blair Morgan Racing back in the day. And then he raced for Christian Brothers, and he has points championships, open mod, factory rides in snowcross. So I'm really excited to see him in speed and style because a lot of these other guys don't have a background like that in snowcross.
Yeah.
So there's some guys that definitely are like right there or give Brett a run for his money on freestyle, but then he's going to give him a run for their money on the speed aspect of it because he has that snowcross background. So there should be some really tight competition at X Games.
I cannot wait to
and they're side by side. I didn't mention that part. When speed and style is head to head. So they're lining up next to each other, identical courses. They're hitting separate ramps, but they're side by side. And everything, like their corner, one corner goes left, the other one goes right. So they turn away from each other, but it's a mirror image of the course. So they're right next to each other, hitting the jumps at the same time. But then you start noticing, oh, Brett's hitting the jump 2 seconds before whoever he's competing against. So he's starting to pull away on the speed side, but then you're judging it off the style. It's a lot happening in like 60 seconds.
It'll be a sweet one to tune in. The other thing I just go back to thinking is like, why the hell did X Games ever have dirt bikes in Winter X?
Like Deegan and Metzger and studded
tires, just like not able
breaking
to do
themselves.
Anything they want to do.
Yeah. I think that would be the era where we were still just experimenting. We're kind of like, I look at those guys as like crash test dummies almost. Yeah. Like they figured out what's possible and what we should be like, that ain't going to work.
Freestyle sleds were around that time too. So it's like, what were we thinking?
And I don't know if it was because the backflip wasn't really happening much yet on sleds, and the cool factor was if you could flip. And I don't know if that was part of it, but we were racing snowcross during the time that we were also doing freestyle in the snow at Winter X Games on dirt bikes.
It was just insane.
Like there were snowmobiles at the same event.
Somebody messed up there,
but no, world stage again. Pretty cool. Kind of I hope it's not just like a trial run and it's going to come back year after year, but in a sense, there's no kind of dodging it. It is a trial. It's been 5-6 years since it's been on, but hopefully it's well received and the athletes have a good time and it's ran smoothly and we keep doing it.
Yeah. So everyone tune in because we want to see that return.
January, I can tell you right now, January 22nd through 25th. Sled events are Friday and Sunday night of January 23rd and the 25th night.
Where are they having Winter X this year?
Aspen, Colorado. Aspen. Yep. Buttermilk Mountain.
I used to live right next to it.
Oh, yeah, you did.
In Glenwood Springs.
Mm-hmm.
Never actually did any winter sports.
Did you ever even go to X Games when you were there?
No.
Huh.
Dude, I was so broke. It was like, I
think X is free.
But
Aspen's not.
No. Like I probably couldn't even afford to drive there. You know, like I didn't have 2 pennies to rub together. That was like right post college. Great times.
Yeah. Aspen's brutal. Fun to visit, but that's about it.
Yeah, I would agree. All right. I got one, I don't know how much you can talk about it or want to talk about it, but I was listening to Sleddercast with Nels, and they had brought up the Kyle Saxton situation where basically he had crashed was it one of 3?
Yeah, it was a pre-production snowmobile.
Yeah, so one of 3 prototype, getting shots, all of that. I know that at some point resulted in a termination of contract from Polaris. I don't know if that was like directly there, but at some point they went their separate ways. But I would love to hear your thoughts on like that situation, because at that time I think he was also a 509 athlete.
Yeah.
And then as well as like on a more broader topic, not like specifically Kyle Saxton, but just on like the risk side of athlete retention, like what athletes should expect and what brands should expect from athletes in those kinds of situations. Cause that's such a niche thing and such few people have the ability to even be on a sled like that at that time.
Yeah. It's just, it boils down to the time and a place for everything. Right. And I love Kyle. I've traveled with him a lot. I've been to Alaska with him. I've had some great times. He's a hell of a rider. And, like we were talking about earlier, if Caleb in his career, like everybody makes mistakes. And that day, I was there that day, and it was a pre-production snowmobile before a media event for like, by media I mean like Snow West, Snowgoer, the magazine outlets, publications, press day, and that machine needed to be used for that press event, and just a bunch of athletes together. I mean, Brett Turcotte was there, Keith Curtis was there, Andy Thomas, and the reality is these guys adrenaline starts pumping. They start thriving off each other and pushing it. And Kyle just kind of kept pushing it a little too far. And just adrenaline took over reading the room a little bit and just kept landing in a bad spot on a snowmobile that was in dire need to stay in one piece. anyways, long story short, kind of blew it to pieces. And, we were all out there for it. And you knew it wasn't, no matter who you were, you knew this isn't good, right?
Yeah.
A mistake was made. This isn't good. And yeah, I mean, you don't need to go into super big detail, but there was definitely that sign prior to it of you should stop doing this, and it kind of just got pushed a little too far.
Yeah.
And I know everybody involved, Polaris, Nels, whomever, you get put in a tough position where there's got to be some form of consequence, because it's like this happening resulted in this, and this for the coming week that now can't happen. And I think they handled it well. It's a bummer. And I don't know if I could be wrong, but I think Kyle still has some form of support from Polaris.
That's what I don't want to speak for Nels in any sense of that word, but he mentioned that on that podcast that like they're still either providing sleds or something like that.
Which is great. It's just kind of like just another way to put it, you kind of got to strike, right?
Yeah.
And Kyle's hungry. He's a grinder. He's got his own business. He's given away a snowmobile this year. He's been on YouTube and trying to do media projects. And I know he's bummed. It's the reality of what happened. And now I think he's just, if anything, I think it motivated him to, all right, I'm going to hit this hard. We're going to get this together. And you're seeing that in what he's putting out. He's done sled, alpine sled style for years. He's won it numerous times. He's a known name. But it's interesting how it trickles out, like the domino effect of what something like that does for the parties involved.
Yeah.
Is people just look at it like, oh, just go make another one. And at the time you couldn't do that. Right.
Well, I think that's what I wanted to get your take on too, is I've heard from multiple sides of like one being like, dude, that is insane content. Now look at all the eyes that are on your stuff. And then from a business standpoint, like now if I put myself in a spot where I'm having to shoot a sled that likely will be an indicator of selling however many snowmobiles they need to sell to make things profitable for Polaris, like that's a massive issue.
I kind of look at it like it's just consequences that happen with life. Like I can't go take a rental car just because I have insurance on it and drive it down a guardrail without having to deal with something later, right? Like just because it's a rental. Yeah. And I'm signing up for that.
You don't do that?
Right. And it happened. That's all. And Kyle's, like I said, he's a grinder, and he's still, it didn't hurt him in the consumer eye or the fan base. I don't think. I mean, I don't want to speak for him here, but he's still just as relevant and he's pushing just as hard. It just, shit happens, unfortunately, and you can't just get away all the time with something happening.
Yeah. Yeah, that
and
was
nobody wants to do that, for the record. Like nobody, Polaris, whomever's involved, nobody looks forward to that conversation.
Absolutely.
It's not like I can't wait to do this. It's like, shit, we can't ignore this. And so it just has to happen. You got to have some sort of conversation about it.
Well, and too, I feel like there's, even on the Polaris side, it's like there's people looking at that not from a relationship standpoint and just a numbers standpoint.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, like there are the ones that are the relationship side, seeing it in person, having their side of it, and then others that are like, do something about this because it just cost us this much money.
Yeah. Once you zoom out, there's, like I said, domino effects, best way to put it.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I feel like that's probably one of the more like controversial, or not controversial, but like ones where you really saw like a mistake happen and a direct consequence then delivered.
Yeah. I had a mini panic moment on a very, very small scale on Snow Show Tour. It's a pretty funny story, actually. I grabbed Caleb's mod sled from the Denver Snow Show and we brought it on tour after that, the 519 booth. And I also took an LE, the new limited edition colorway that Polaris did a small build of that you could snow check for 26.
Yep.
It's like chrome graphics, some, factory, I say in quotes, factory aftermarket bumpers kind of thing that they offer, and just a unique colorway. And we're, for the first time, I mean, I've been 10 years driving trailers around I get back to home here and I open up the trailer and we have a staircase that goes in front of a stage on our booth. The strap had come loose and for like 200 miles the staircase bounced off the side of this LE sled and the panel is just gouged to shit. Like, and it was the metal aluminum corner on it. So it was like poking. It looked like if you were to heat up a screwdriver and push it into plastic, like a bunch of that over and over and over. And I'm like, oh no. My first thought was, thank God it wasn't Caleb's sled, because that one was strapped down the back with nothing around it. But I'm also like, this is an LE sled. I don't think they have any of these side panels. It's got to go to another show. So I called them, told what happened, and it came to the conclusion that it was on the turbo side. And we're like, people need to see the factory turbo. Display it with no side panel. Problem solved. So, took the side panel off, displayed it. It's just cosmetic. But I had that moment of, oh man, like, I know this is a consumer snowmobile and they're making them, but there's not really parts for these. It's got to be on display. It's like, what am I going to do? And it ended up being okay. But yeah, I kind of had that moment of, never going to let me transport a snowmobile again.
I think that was when you stopped here. For some reason, I met you guys over by the gas station. And then you're like, dude, this side panel is roached.
Yeah, I think that's when we noticed it. Yeah, good thing we stopped there because it would have bounced another 45 miles home.
Up the pass?
Yeah.
All right, man, what's next? What do you got on the calendar for the rest of this winter?
What we went through earlier, be up with Caleb on that sled, and then that film premiere, and then back in Revelstoke in December to do 2 webisodes in our channel. The early season ones I encourage you guys to watch because there's not really a storyline. It's just high energy, getting our pro team together. The snowpack's usually a little iffy, and it's just adrenaline and a summer's worth of pent-up energy coming out in this video. But then January, quite a few videos planned. Obviously, Winter X Games. We got one that we're not talking about yet that's after Winter X Games. That's a really cool project. You'll kind of know more about it in probably December here.
But is that the one that I'm thinking of?
Probably. The one that's back east?
Yes.
Yeah.
You have things for it in your garage right now?
Yep, that one. That'll be fun. And then, we're just pumping out 12 to 24 episodes this year. It's a big variable, but we were penciling in doing some more in between our polished ones of our pro team. We were just going to do, for example, you and I, Tristan, our homies, going for a local ride. We're going to throw GoPros Insta360s on and just have like day in the life videos that people know aren't as in depth, but it's just kind of a fun another outlet to toss up on the channel.
Heck yeah.
So we're going to sprinkle those in. Jackson Hole, X Games, just chasing snow and pumping out media.
I know one of the things you said when we were just chatting before we started this was you'd had a kind of a go-to-market meeting internally at 509 and got the like full go-ahead to just throw down this winter.
Yeah.
Which is, I absolutely love hearing that's
going
to be a focus. Because I think other companies are pulling back and they're not going as full in, which, you guys have always done such a good job at being the face of the media side of sleds.
It's going to be fun. We're excited. Now we just need Mother Nature to cooperate so we can get at it.
Yeah. It's still feeling like fall.
It's going to, at the time of airing this, 24 hours from now, it should be snowing in the mountains.
Love it.
Or, sorry, at the time of recording this. Yeah.
Well, sick, man. Well, hopefully we can get out this winter.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Definitely.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on, dude.
Hey, no, thank you, dude. It's been fun watching you get different guests. I've been trying to keep up with them on the road, and you refine what you have going on here, and I can see it just continuously getting better and better. So thanks for having me. I love that.
We started with the sound, so hopefully you folks can
Sounds great now.
Hear some differences, but it's been a journey, man. It's been fun.
Nice job.
But appreciate it, buddy.
Thank you.
Thanks.